What is going on, guys? Vinny Vega here. Today I got some news on Battlefield Hardline. The official release date and also the official open beta will be coming out. On February 3rd through February 8th, every platform will have access to the open beta. This includes PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. So everybody across the board will have a chance to play this game before the release date on March 17th. This was released on the website itself, on Battlefield Hardline's official website, as you can see here. Now, less than a week does seem like a very short time for an open beta. I'm kind of led to believe that this might last longer than the 8th. I'm just judging this by a quote that was from the general manager of Visceral Games, and he states, and I quote, "There's nothing more valuable to our team than the relationship we have with our community. Their passion feeds our passion, and their feedback has definitely helped make Hardline a better game." Then he goes on to say, "We want them to play the hell out of the beta next week and trust that they'll keep the feedback coming so we can continue to fine-tune the game." This is just my speculation, and if my call out is correct, then sweet. We'll have a little bit more time with the beta. I'm not getting my hopes up on that. Now, there's going to be 3 game modes and 3 maps to play on in the beta. Hotwire and Heist is brand new to the Battlefield franchise, and then we also have the classic Conquest. Now, Hotwire is basically a variation of Conquest, where you capture cars instead of locations. You have to race the car around in order to capture it. This game mode will be featured on Downtown and Dust Bowl. Heist is a smash and grab type of game mode, where the robbers have to steal from the bank and the cops have to stop them, essentially. You break into the vault, steal the cash, and that's how the robbers will win the game. And if the cops stop them, that's how the cops win the game. This will be featured on a brand new map that we didn't see on the last one, called Bank Job. And of course, the classic game mode Conquest will be in the beta as well. This map will only be featured on Dust Bowl. I kind of wish they would have added it to Downtown too, but it is what it is. I'm really excited to try out Battlefield Hardline, and I think it's really good that the beta will be available on all the platforms. This will be a good way to also stress test the servers as well. There's been a lot of, I guess you can say, rejection towards this game. I mean, not just the whole cops and robbers scene, but just some of the changes they've made in the game, period. And a lot of the Battlefield community really does not like what's going on with this game. I mean, granted, a lot of this has to do with most of the community is not really over the fact that Battlefield 4 was released in such a state of decay when it first came out. In my opinion, a lot of this has to do with EA pushing them for annual release. Paying $60 for an unfinished game is still unacceptable in any case, whether it's EA's fault or DICE's fault. In a way, maybe DICE should have put their foot down and said, the game's not ready yet, you're going to have to wait. Regardless of how good the release of this game will be, there's still going to be a lot of hate towards the Battlefield franchise, and this will continue on for at least another year. It's a huge hit, and it's going to be hard to recover from that. Now, a lot of people believe that Visceral Games is the sole developer of Battlefield Hardline. This is simply not the case. EA actually brought Visceral Games on board to help DICE finish the game. This also leads me to believe that EA's push for annual release will actually happen. So Visceral Games and DICE will essentially rotate every other year in order to release the game every year. EA has been trying to compete with Call of Duty since Battlefield 3. This is why Battlefield 4 was released when it was, even though it wasn't finished. But that release blew up right in their faces. Now, it simply makes sense that EA would take a page out of Activision's book, using Visceral Games and DICE to be able to release the game every year, such as Activision did with Treyarch and IW. But let's face it, a Battlefield game is not going to have enough development time in a 2-year cycle. I think EA just needs to accept the fact that pushing for an annual release is just not a good idea. It doesn't have to be released every year. We keep seeing this with every game. We see this with Assassin's Creed, with Call of Duty. Every year we get a game that's like somewhat broken in some way, where we have to have a patch immediately after release. And this is something that's just not good for business. From a business standpoint, I get it. They want to have that revenue every single year. But in order to have that revenue, you got to release a game that's going to be working. And I think the community's negative attitude towards Hardline is good in a way, because it shows EA that we're not going to stand for a shitty release. And I hope EA learns this lesson. Only time will tell what will happen, and I myself will go into this open beta with the open mind. It's good that it's available to all platforms, so everybody gets a chance to see what this game's about. And judging by the delayed release of the game, maybe they already learned their lesson. We can only hope. We heard in recent news that Visceral Games had a huge influence on EA's delay on the game. On IGN's website they state that as well. A lot of people speculate that they only delayed the game because of the lack of pre-orders. This may be one of their driving points in their argument for delaying the game. From what I understand, Visceral Games has listened to the community very well, and they've made some changes that people wanted to see from the last beta to this beta. It's going to be interesting to see what actually goes down. For those of you who are going to be playing the beta, make sure you give feedback on the forums. That way, let's say there's a common thing that's people find unsettling in the game, Visceral Games may change that for the final release. Please leave a comment below on what you think of Battlefield Hardline, and I hope you guys have an excellent day today, and I'll see you on the next one.